Your Druid has arrived, and last night I was watching some TV and I was watching the X Factor, and I did a channel once upon a time called XFactor Analysis, where I started to analyse the show. And I do watch talent contests like X Factor and the singing contest. I know it's kind of girly of me to say, but I kind of like watching them. I kind of find it interesting to see the different people sing. And I like hearing weird covers of songs sung in a different way. I like hearing covers of songs that are different from the original, and they don't try and be better than the original, they just try to be different. And I find the X Factor and shows like that often do that. But I was watching it, and I know you're not supposed to take these shows seriously, and you're not supposed to think that this is a shining example of the record industry and all that. But I honestly think shows like the X Factor have the potential to be really good for the music industry. They have the potential to basically bring in people, hire people who would never normally be hired. And take Susan Boyle for instance. She got loads of #1 albums basically off the back of being on Britain's Got Talent. And she would never be offered a record deal in real life. And I think it can be very good for the music industry if these talent shows do hire people who would normally not get hired, do choose people based on how good their voices are. I find the sob stories boring, really, really boring, and such a waste of time. I'd rather they cut out a lot of the waffle out of the show and just showed more people singing. That's what I kind of want to see in the show. I want to hear people sing and kind of judge. Even if it's just a short snippet, if I could hear lots of people singing one after the other, I find it interesting. But I was watching it last night, and they're doing this party scene. It's really, really goofy. They've set out a party for the X Factor contestants, the ones who've got through to boot camp, or so they think. They've set out a party for them. And they're going, oh my god, this party's getting out of control and it's wild. And they've basically handed the contestants a lot of alcohol. They have a band playing, and in the middle of this, like it's like outside, but it's some sort of it's an event party. They've a hot tub. It's just sitting there, and it's clearly there on purpose for the contestants to jump into, so that they can go to the press. How wild is this? It's so not a wild party, and they're like, oh my god, best party ever! It's so cheesy, and oh, it's so fake. And some of them are jumping into the pool, and some of them are cheering, and the guy kind of looks like scruffy Justin Bieber is trying to get laid. That's what's happening. But they cut to the judges, who are in this tower with a view of the London Big Eye, and it looks over the top, and they're using this touchscreen TV, this huge touchscreen, this futuristic system that they've set up to examine the videos of the contestants. And it looks so unrealistic and cheesy, and you know that's not what really happened. I mean, they should have at least kept it looking like it's at least on the ground. You know that's not what happened. And they're hitting the screen with the contestants' pictures on it, and they're coming up and they're singing, and they're saying, oh, we shouldn't have let them in. Oh, what a mistake. And I'm thinking with some of the acts, yeah, you shouldn't have let them in. I'd rather had a mediocre act in, and maybe their voice might improve to be good, than you let in some of these joke acts. But it comes to one point, and Gary Barlows says a line, and this is where this video's coming to. This is the summation of this video, and the summation is that Gary Barlow is a complete asshole. But as I said, I think this show can be good, especially, I don't want to say it brutally, but people who are considered beautiful can get far in the music industry through these talent shows, and I like that. And Gary says this line, which is the most irresponsible line I think I've ever heard in one of these shows before. And if I was him, with his publicist and all, I would want to make a release saying, I'm sorry, but I know that's not going to happen, and I know people are just going to gloss over it. But he says, and I had to stop the show and go back and copy down this line. The line Gary Barlow said is, if we have a record with that face on it, it's going to have a reduced price. Oh my, that's such a terrible thing to say. And that's one of the things I wished, that's one of the things I wanted this show to fix on. The problem that I think is wrong with the record industry is that they care too much about looks. And when I'm listening to a song, I don't think, oh, I hope that the singer is a ride. I don't listen to music and think, I hope they're really hot. If I want to look at hot girls, I can just look for hot girls. If I want to listen to music, I want someone who can sing. And for him to come out and say that, screw Gary Barlow, that's such an asshole statement to make. I can't believe he would say that on that show. And in truth, there are singers on that show who aren't good looking at all. Even with that, I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. They're not conventionally good looking. And for him to come out and say that on that show, that's so mean-hearted and so nasty of him. And I'd hope that he would come out and, if he has a Twitter feed, say he's sorry for that line. But it's a really nasty thing to say. And probably for some of you who watch my videos, you're not from the UK, so you don't know who Gary Barlow is. Gary Barlow is basically the third best singer in a boy band called Take That. Yeah, I said it. And he's always come across as an arrogant douche, but he's never come across as the sort of guy who would judge people based on their looks, and he's just come across like that for the first time ever. I can't believe he said that. I just can't believe he said that. It's so frustrating on that sort of a show for him to say that.